What's up, beautiful bosses, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rosie, and I am your calligraphy business bestie. I'm here to give you all the tips and tricks to help you build an amazing calligraphy business that is not only profitable, but helps you satisfy your creative cravings as well. So today we actually have a very special interview from one of my very first students of the Craft Academy. Her name is Pamela. She's actually the artist behind Sakura Inked. And we actually met in the December of 2020 when I was just creating the Craft Academy and I was doing interviews trying to figure out what the biggest challenges were with building a calligraphy business. She decided to enroll, and back then she was actually known as Pameligraphy, which is Pamela with calligraphy into it. Ever since then, she's actually rebranded to Sakura Inked, which is her brand new name, and it actually really speaks to her personality a lot more. You might know her for her amazing flourishing skills. She's also worked with large brands like Kérastase and Victoria's Secret, and now she's starting to get consistent leads almost every single day. And that is a true testament to what it takes to build a calligraphy business because it does take time. There's no such thing as an overnight success, and Pamela is a beautiful example of that. She also struggled with finding her niche and really committing to one specific niche because she had just started when she was so brand new. But with the help of the Craft Academy, we really helped her hone in on her calligraphy and engraving skills, and now she's been able to work with such amazing brands. But this is not the story of an overnight success. It's about struggling through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and really pushing through in order to get the success that you want. I love telling my students that success is inevitable as long as you keep going. And I know right now it's feels really hopeless and difficult because you may not be getting to the success that you want. But as long as you keep trying, you are going to get there. And I promise you, it's going to be so satisfactory once you actually do get there. And if this story resonates with you and this is a journey that you actually really want to go on, I highly recommend that you book a strategy call with me to see if the Craft Academy is a really good fit for where you are with your business and if we can help you achieve your goals. And with that, here's the interview. So, Pamela, welcome. I'm
Thank
excited to
you.
have you on here.
Excited to be
Um,
here.
Your business transformation since we've gotten started has been incredible. I know it's been about 18 months since you've been in the Craft Academy, so it took a little bit of time. But why don't you give us a background on how you got started, your journey to entrepreneurship, and all of the things?
Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Pamela. I'm the owner and calligrapher of Sakura Inked Calligraphy Studio, and I'm based in New York City. So, I'll start a little bit of how I came to start my own business and become an entrepreneur. So, I officially started my business in November of 2020, and at the time, I had zero business experience. Calligraphy was just a hobby for 6 years, and I had been I had left my job, my corporate job, 9 months ago in February of 2020. So that was great timing to leave a job,
Yeah.
and I spent 9 months kind of just noodling around, doing some soul searching at home, of course, because of COVID. And I had finally crossed the mental milestone of starting my own business in November of 2020, because I thought the time was right. I had spent so many months just figuring out what I had wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And coincidentally, Rosie, during that time, also reached out to me to see if I wanted to join her new calligraphy coaching program. So it was very fortuitous because I was lost in a sea of nothing, and Rosie extended her life raft of coaching as like of guidance and advice. So that's how I ended up first starting Sakura Inked,
Mm-hmm.
and joining Rosie's program.
Yeah, and I still think back to that phone call because I remember so clearly talking to you, and I'm honestly still so shocked and surprised that you trusted me enough to hire me as your coach and invest in the program. So I will be forever thankful to you and the other students who are the original founding members. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what 2021 actually looked like for you? So I know we started the program in January of 2021. We finished around February. What did the rest of that year look like for you? Did you get immediate success? What were you selling at that time?
Well, the answer is no. There's no immediate success. There's no immediate success ever. That's the lesson I learned. So when I started in November 2020, all I had was my logo and my name, which I had created in the 9 months of nothing. I had no idea what I was going to sell. I just knew I enjoyed doing calligraphy and I wanted to have my own business. And I had zero business knowledge, no idea how to start an LLC, didn't know anything about taxes, like absolutely nothing. All I had was a laptop and a business name. So
what did you kind of envision your business to look like? Like, what did you want your life to look like?
That's a good question. So I knew what I wanted my life to look like, which was creating what I love to create in my own terms, in the way that I wanted to, but finding success selling it financially, of course, because I want to live the lifestyle that I want to live, and you need to be financially supportive. So it was finding the balance between creating what I loved and then having the finances to support it. But the in-between is also the way I wanted to do it too. So that's basically the outline I had when I started, but everything in between was completely not figured out yet.
Yeah, of course. So why did you feel like investing in yourself and your business so early was the right move to do at the time?
I think because at the time I really had zero idea of what I wanted, and you happened to come along and offer some guidance. So I was really thinking, I have nothing to lose. I have all the time in the world right now. And it ended up being like a couple years later, it ended up being a great investment because you've helped me shape some of my current streams of revenue and advice and tips and confidence, and just having friends in the calligraphy community is so important because they're going through the same things you are, and we all help each other in this community.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up the community that we have within the Craft Academy. We are almost at 60 students right now, so that's incredible to me. But despite our growing family, we still maintain that relationship, and everyone knows each other. Like, you have phone numbers of calligraphers all over the world, essentially. So it's pretty cool to like be a part of that. I think what I didn't realize when I started my calligraphy journey is that it can be really lonely. Like, you are doing place cards, you know, in your room by yourself for hours on end, not really talking to anybody. Like, you could have music on or a podcast, but at the end of the day, sometimes you don't talk to anyone. And even more than that, entrepreneurship can also be pretty similar to that as well. It's hard to find calligrapher entrepreneurs to kind of build that relationship with, and having the Craft Academy community be that like support has been exponential for my mental health, and I'm sure for you too.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a distinctive moment. I think there were a couple of us. We hadn't created our websites yet, and we just had a call about like, should we use Squarespace or Wix or something else? And just like going over that business decision with someone else is just so helpful immensely, knowing that you're not alone in the same issue that you're facing.
Exactly. You're in it together, and that's like the pact that you have with it. It's like a sisterhood now, so it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what did the rest of 2021 look like? Were you immediately selling stuff? Like, what was your journey during that point?
Yeah, so when I first started, I knew I really enjoyed calligraphy, and I really enjoyed offhand flourishing and the look of that, and I wanted to create that. It was really fun for me. So the first thing I tried selling was greeting cards and art prints with offhand flourishing combination. So I created some design. So I but a very straightforward plan, which was create some, print them out, and then put them on Etsy and see how it does.
Yeah.
And they didn't do so well. So there's a lesson learned in how to sell physical products, greeting cards, how to market yourself.
Hmm.
So I didn't do so well on that. And then
Was that
through
something that
that,
you enjoyed though? Is that something that you would have gone forward with?
yeah, I think I enjoyed creating the pieces, but I didn't enjoy the physical product of it.
Hmm.
So through the failure of launching greeting cards and then having it not take off, I learned that I don't want to do physical product because I don't enjoy having inventory so much.
Hmm.
So I want to be more service based, but I did enjoy creating the art pieces. So I pivoted from greeting cards and art prints into like more services based, which
Hmm.
is also where the Craft Academy was helpful because I could see that Rosie and the other ladies in the program had already found success with engraving and live events. So they had like it's an attainable achievement that's
Hmm.
possible. So it's also an example that I could look up to and go for, and then know that I could do live events and services, but how do I spin it in a way that I enjoy doing it in my own way?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what really helped you pivot towards more service-based, more live events?
Yeah, I think it was one, like I mentioned, the how my first experiment didn't work out, and I realized I didn't quite enjoy it. And
Hmm.
then two, like opening my horizon on other forms of revenue that I could attempt
Hmm.
and do, that I started to pivot toward like wedding signage and
Hmm.
live
I
event
remember that.
services and engraving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in summary, 2021 was more of an experimental phase for you. So you were trying out physical products, you were trying out doing weddings, and then you were also learning how to flourish better or like kind of develop your own flourishing style and learning how to engrave. So last
Hmm.
year was a really big period of growth for you. What was the hardest part of that year?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is probably the mental challenges that you need to overcome.
Hmm.
There's a lot of technical things in running your own business, like how to set up an LLC, how to make an Instagram reel. And I feel like those aren't really the difficult parts
Hmm.
because all that information is Googleable and attainable. But it's really what goes on in here for me that I find
Hmm.
most difficult to overcome and like come to terms with throughout all the micro moments of difficulty is the mental challenges. And then with each thing that you achieve and you put behind you, I feel like you get mentally stronger. Like I used to be scared about posting on Instagram because
Hmm.
I'm like,
Yes, I
this
remember.
reel is terrible. But if you just let go that the fact that your first five reels are gonna be terrible, like by the time you do your sixth one, you're gonna be technically have better skills and you're gonna feel
Yeah.
better about it. So just the
Yeah.
mental confidence to slowly accumulate.
I love that you said that. What are some tips for someone who's kind of going through that and experiencing that as well?
Yeah, I definitely know how you feel because I had years of ugly tears, many depressed moments, and no amount of advice makes you feel better during that
Hmm.
moment. But I'm going to tell you that same advice, which is don't get discouraged because it's really you pushing through every micro difficulty that you get better and better
Hmm.
and better. And then this difficulty that you're facing today, if you step forward and overcome it tomorrow, the next time it happens, it won't feel as bad. And you're gonna have something else difficult that's gonna come along your way that you make
Yeah,
with
it's like flexing a muscle, right? Like I
It
actually love
is.
to say that in the Craft Academy. It's like flexing your pricing muscle, flexing your mental strength. Like literally all of that is a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the stronger you become. One of the things that I love to recommend is building what's called a hero list, and that's all of the accomplishments that you have that you've made in your business moving up to this point. So having that as a reminder and easily accessible for you is going to make you remember what you started with and how far you've gotten, and that'll inspire you to keep going forward even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And the people, I feel like the people of the Craft Academy are just the best. Like just friends, colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
direct referrals for jobs.
Yeah.
Um, that's all. It's just a helpful community that everyone like helps each other, and even I refer jobs out that I can't take because of
Mm-hmm.
one reason or another. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, we
great.
really strive for that community over competition mentality. Like we have each other's backs. Like technically we are competition, but like the more that we can uplift each other, the higher that the whole community becomes and the whole industry becomes. So that's what we are really striving for. So let's move on to this year. 2022 for you has been absolutely incredible. Like I look at your stories every day, I'm like, wow, I kind of helped with that. So tell us what happened at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, so after a whole year of 2021 experimenting, failing, tiny wins, some tiny wins,
Yeah.
2022 was like I started to just feel the momentum just starting to gain tiny more, just still a
Mm-hmm.
trickle, but it's just like a faster trickle.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually only started doing live events in January. I think my first one was in January.
I think
Um,
so. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
do you
So
feel
I
like
haven't.
that success started to ripple out because you finally eventually found your niche?
Yeah, definitely. I think it started to just the ball started rolling faster as you yourself figure out what you enjoy doing. So
Mm-hmm.
then when you express yourself and you talk about your services, people can just relate to you better because you
Mm-hmm.
enjoy what you're talking about. You
Yeah.
love what you do, and
Mm-hmm.
just a better way to connect with people. So I started doing that. I revamped my website. I did all the keyword SEO
Mm-hmm.
research back in January. And I got a couple of lucky wins, which is the tiny wins, and they seem to have grown upon each other so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been lucky enough to work with Cartier and Victoria's Secret, which I never would have thought in my ugly
Mm-hmm.
tears last year. But here we
Yeah.
are. Some of them are repeat clients. So it's really possible. You just need to find the confidence in yourself to keep going and don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I remember someone told me at the end of last year, she said, just don't stop. And I was like, I don't believe you. It's never going to come. You're lying. But I didn't stop.
Yeah, and that's kind
and,
of the title of today's meeting is success is inevitable as long as you keep going.
yes.
And you are the epitome of that, which is why you're such the perfect person to bring on. Um, if I guess like knowing that you what you already know and learned, do you feel like just having that niche helped you build an ideal client avatar and actually helped you with your messaging and your marketing and essentially just helped to build your business up?
Yeah, I think so. Because once you narrow down what you want to do, I feel like everything kind of falls into place. Um, like, okay, I'm gonna use a wedding planning example because I just finished planning my wedding. Like, once you plan your venue and pick your date, aka your niche, you
Mm-hmm.
have you have your colors like narrowed down. You have your like demographic narrowed down. You have your season narrowed down.
Yes.
And so like once you say your niche is going to be live event engraving, well then you have your target demographic narrowed down, which is probably going to be a company, which how
Mm-hmm.
narrow down your marketing strategy is going to be different than if you were advertising toward a bride. So that already helps in staring at a blank website and what you're going to type on your
Yeah.
website if you're going to talk to a company versus a bride.
That's
So I
such a
think
good example. Like I never even thought of that analogy. So you are like literally hitting the nail on the head right now. It's so perfect. I love that you said that.
Thank you.
Do you, I guess, since you took about, let's just say 10 months to a year to actually figure out that niche, do you wish that you found engraving faster, like maybe sometime in 2021? Or do you feel like you went the right route and you figured out what you hated and therefore you knew what you loved?
No, I don't regret finding out engraving, for example, later on, because I
Hmm.
think if I had never tried to do, because my initial product idea was greeting cards, and had I
Hmm.
never attempted to do it and it failed, well, in my mind, I failed, and discovered that I hated it, I would have had regret in this way of business. And I like then it sits in the back of your mind,
Hmm.
and if it just sits there forever and you don't do it, then it's just all the
Yeah,
regret. Like you have to
all the
go
regret.
for
Yeah.
it without fear of failing, fail, and then take what you learned from it, realize what you didn't like and what you did like. And now I have no regret on trying to do greeting cards and not finding any success with it, because now I just have totally put it behind me. I
Hmm.
see other entrepreneurs on Instagram having success in greeting cards, and I
Yeah.
don't feel FOMO because I tried it and discovered that I hated it. So now I just feel great for them. And like everyone gets Instagram FOMO. So like
Yeah.
I tried that route and it's like great that they found success, but that's not for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love everything that you said because I also tried a million different things and failed at it too and wasted potentially a lot of time. But I learned so much during that period that I can apply to my own business and teach
Mm-hmm.
to the Craft Academy clients that we have because I've done that. Like I know what it takes to get success in different avenues, whether it's physical products or wholesale murals, all that. Like I've tried almost everything. And so I know what needs to be done. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can use that knowledge and impart it onto everyone else so that they can get successful in the part that they love. You know, live events
Yeah.
is amazing, but it's not for everybody, right? Some people prefer to be in a studio, some people prefer to have physical cards or products and stuff. So it's always good to try things out. And I 100% support that. And in fact, I encourage it because you don't want to happen on a niche and be stuck with it 5 years down the line and turn out that you hate it, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. And
Cool.
it turns out greeting cards wasn't a failure because I ended up making a thank you card and trying to sell it. But now it's a thank you card I use when I ship off an order.
Hmm.
It's my handwritten note. So even that wasn't a total bust.
Yeah, so you're still using those skills. You still have the design. You have the like beautiful printer that you
Yes.
purchased back then. So you can still make that stuff and still send it out. So it's still like it's not wasted. It's being
Exactly.
used, recycled.
Exactly. Yeah. And everyone, like, you have to go through a journey. Of course, we try to get
Hmm.
it right the first time, but I think, like I said, the mental obstacle of letting that go, of trying to get it right on the first time, you'll
Hmm.
just, I feel like you'll have a much more enjoyable journey.
Yeah. So what do you feel like is the most difficult part about owning your own business?
There's lots of difficult parts of owning your own business. But I think, like I said, the hardest part is coming to terms with what goes on mentally in your own mind.
Hmm.
Because, like I said, any technical skill, that information is out there. It's like 1 or 2 hours of research. Like if you're scared about how to perfect an IG reel,
Hmm.
you can Google tips on how to do it. But what
Hmm.
I think what really prevents us from taking on new challenges and allowing us to grow in business and learning a new skill or walking into a store and pitching yourself is our own
Hmm.
fears and insecurities.
Yeah.
which is all in here. It's zero technical stuff. It's literally all mental. So I think that's the hardest part,
Yeah.
especially when, like I said, when you're by yourself, because there's no one to bring you down when you start to downward spiral in
Yeah. Yeah.
working, which
It's
is
so
also
easy to
help.
spiral when you're by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So the Craft Academy group really helps you bring you back to reality,
Hmm.
and like, and also like make you think like, oh, this problem that I thought was really big actually isn't big because everyone has this problem. So I'm not
Yeah.
so special, and this
Yeah.
problem isn't that big.
Yeah. Do you feel like you
Yeah.
have someone in the Craft Academy other than myself to help uplift you consistently and like kind of have like a partner per se?
Yeah, I text some of the ladies on like a weekly basis just on pricing or like, hey, like I think we just did our Victoria's Secret event cross country
Hmm.
together, so
Hmm.
we texted about the sample bottle, like, hey, which burr is the best one to use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
those little
just
things that you don't
mhm.
realize that you need until you need it, and then you have someone to really call upon. So that is probably one of the best parts about having the Craft Academy is having built such a strong community that supports each other. And we're global now. Like we have people in Germany, Canada, I think Hong Kong. So like literally we're everywhere now, and we're growing at such an awesome rate, and we still continue to have that community feel. So
Mhm.
what was the biggest impact or change that you experienced from joining the Craft Academy?
For this one, I think it was gaining the confidence to do things like anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think when I was by myself, I was just totally lost. And of course, you have a million and a half things to do every day. And you're kind of, well, I find myself like scared to start on any of those tasks, but the Crash Academy like helps ground you. Also, Rosie tells you like at what part of your business you're at. She also tells you like this is the best thing for you to do right now. Like you need to build a website. This is how you build a website.
Yeah.
These are the words, and this is where you need to put them.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I think mostly it's like gaining the confidence to try new things because like I mentioned before, there's people that are further along in their business journey and people that are further back in their business journey. So you can
Right.
see an example of what is possible.
Hmm.
And if you see someone who's already done it, then of course it makes it less scary to do it and then do it in your own way.
Hmm. Yeah, we have people who are just learning how to bottle paint or even engrave, and they're already pitching themselves to pretty major brands and booking gigs. And the whole community is there behind them because if you've never engraved in person, it can be very intimidating and very scary, especially performing in front of other people. So we have modules that help prepare you for those events and those instances. And we even have like now we're doing like a TCA power hour, and people are literally getting on together to just work on technical skills, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So it's just
Yeah, and
getting better
everyone
and
has
better every day.
knowledge. Yeah, and everyone has like knowledge about vectorizing
Hmm.
or yeah, how to make a video that if you were to Google by yourself, you'd spend 2 hours, but if you just ask someone, then you have it in a minute.
That's right. It's a lot of
Yeah.
time saved.
Yeah.
So speaking of time, if you had if you didn't invest in yourself, where do you think you would be right now? Like if you didn't invest in yourself in like January of 2021, where do you think you and your business would be?
Oh gosh, I definitely would not be where I am now. That's a great question. I have no idea. I'd probably be still a hot mess. Maybe I'd still be doing greeting cards. Never even picked up an engraver before.
Mm.
But I think that's also how life goes. It's like you showed up at a very opportunistic
Yeah.
time for me, and
Mhm.
then that's how life goes. And oh my God, I don't even want to think about where I would be. I would not be as great as here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I tell my coach, my mentor this all the time, but I say if it wasn't for her, I would probably be still working in the pharmacy, wanting and waiting for my business to take off. And I wouldn't be my own boss today. And that is
Mm-hmm.
a massive difference. It could be like 5 years from now where I would be my own boss, you know? So
Yeah.
investing in yourself early is, I would say, one of the key things to building a successful and legacy business. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always think when I'm thinking about investing in myself or a
hmm
new opportunity, like you always know what you could lose, but you
hmm
never know how much you could gain. And you could
yeah,
gain so much,
yeah,
so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I love that. I'm so glad you said that. So, what are some of your future plans for Sakura Inked?
Oh yeah. So 2022 is still rolling. So I'm obviously still building, still growing. I hope next year I won't even recognize myself now. So I've been doing live events for about half a year, like I said, and I really enjoyed those. I think I want to keep doing live events. Like I
hmm
do enjoy the variety of clients and things you get to work on.
hmm
I am working on a calligraphy flourishing workbook too. So that's fun and coming up. And also
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
one of the things that we've been pushing her for like a year. Like literally
yes.
brought it up to her last year and we're like, we need you to teach us flourishing. And she's
Yes, you do.
finally gonna do it. So I'm like super excited about that.
Yeah, it took a year, but I'm getting there. So stay tuned for that. And I think like long term, just expanding different streams of revenue and variety for the business. And continue to just have fun and like keep doing it my way. Because I found that when I try, like you see successful people on Instagram all the time, and then you try and copy them exactly because
hmm
obviously they're successful, so they
Right.
found a formula that works.
hmm
But I found like when I copy it, I don't really enjoy it as much. So, but also
hmm
enjoying the process of finding your own way. Um, and you're gonna
Beautiful.
find your own special niche just by staying true to yourself, I think. So that's what I'm trying to
Oh, that's awesome. Someone mic drop that because that was amazing.
do.
Okay, so last question. What would you tell yourself in November of 2020?
Oh man. So when I first started and I had told my friend that I was just gonna I'm doing this. He said, "Welcome to the wildest, craziest, hardest journey of your whole life. You're gonna have a great time and you're gonna have a terrible time, but you're gonna create the life that you've always dreamed of, and it's totally possible. It's gonna suck a lot along the way, but as long as you don't stop,
Yeah.
you're gonna enjoy yourself."
Yeah, success is inevitable as long as
Yes.
you keep going. And Pamela is the perfect picture of that. I wouldn't don't want to say struggled, but she experimented for a year, finally found her niche, and then 6 months into her journey, she's been booking amazing clients like Cartier, Kérastase, and Victoria's Secret, and she's gotten repeat clients pretty much all throughout that time. She's also getting leads almost every single day. So it just takes getting through that hump and having some guidance and a community behind you is going to help you, I would say, tenfold. So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Pamela. She is honestly one of the kindest souls I have ever worked with, and I'm so grateful that she enrolled in the Craft Academy and really allowed me to help her build the calligraphy business of her dreams. And if this story resonated with you, please book a strategy call with me. I would love to meet you. I would love to talk to you. Even if you're just trying to start a side hustle or you're really trying to make this full time, the Craft Academy can really help you achieve the goals that you want and build the calligraphy business that is designed for your life. And with that, I hope you have an amazing day and thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button along with the bell so that you get alerted when we post new videos every single Tuesday. And with that, happy engraving, everyone!